We're going low, 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 low. Hey, my name is Tamara Green and I am a pelvic physical therapist, and welcome to Below the Skirt with Tamara. How low we're going? We're going low, 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 but it also depends on how high or low you wear your skirt. And this is my girl Virginia. We're here and I help women overcome uncontrolled bladders, return to pleasurable sex, manage pregnancy symptoms so you can become a postpartum champion. So I will be discussing how you can position yourself in the bed to help relieve your back pain. So with doing that, it's very common when you're having some sort of back pain in the bed can be a very difficult situation. There's going to be times where you feel like there just is not the correct or the best position for you to be able to take some of that discomfort that you have. So when you're lying in the bed, you may feel like, hey, when I'm lying on my stomach, I feel like there's some pressure on my back. Or if I'm lying on my side, I feel like there's pressure. So I'm going to give you a couple positions or a few positions when you're in the bed, how you can relieve some of that pain. And then we'll discuss at the end as to possibly why you're having that pain. So you need yourself a couple pillows. So if I'm lying on my back to get started, which a lot of us are not back sleepers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lie on my back with having two pillows underneath my knees. So when I'm laying here, this takes the strain off my back because my hips are more in a what we call flex position. So my knees are here, that is more of a bent position. So that takes the pressure of your low back. So lying on your back, pillows underneath your knees. It could be 1, 2 pillows, just whatever feels comfortable to you if you have a pillow underneath your head. Now if you say, hey, I want to flip over onto my side and lie on my back, well, that's fine. So when you're lying on your side, and we call this the hook line position. When you're lying on your side, both knees bent, you may need 1, you may need 2 pillows with lying on your side. It just all depends what feels comfortable to you. So in this position, I would actually do 2, depending upon how thick your pillows are. Now you can see that there's perfect alignment of the hip. The knee is not dropping too low below the hip level. If I have 1 pillow, you see how the knee is dropping more below the hip level. If I have no pillows, you see how it's dropped down. So that gives you stability when you're having pillows in between your knees to take some of that strain to give you more of a neutral hip position, which controls, that's a component of the back. If you want to lie on your stomach, which is very difficult, a lot of people like to lay on your stomach, but you may also feel like, hey, lying on my stomach, I feel like there's a lot of deep lower back pressure. If that's the case, what you can do is just take 1 pillow, 2 pillows. It depends, you may have to play with it. You want to place this directly underneath your hips. Now when you're here, and I'm lying on my hips, you want to with me doing that, now my hips are at more of a flex position. So it's kind of like this and down. So that takes the strain off the back. Now if I decide that if I wanted to lie on my back, lie on my stomach with my hips down, that puts a lot of pressure here. So with me having 1 pillow, some of you may sleep with 2 pillows. If you have an extra pillow, you see how that's increasing more of extension? I'm extending my back. But if I put 2 pillows underneath my hips and I'm lying on my stomach, then now my hips are more up and that takes the strain off my lower back. Or if you decide you want to lay on your stomach, you can lie on your stomach and then possibly just kind of flex your knee just a little bit. That takes the strain off of your back. So it's very common when you're having low back discomfort. If you're having it just generally, sleeping at night can be very uncomfortable because those are positions where you're there for long periods of time. Now, what could be causing that discomfort that you're having? Well, especially during the daytime, if that back gets achy, you have some discomfort, you may even have pain, you may say, I'm going to have a rough night. A lot of times you can tell if you have a rough night. Or if you say, I'm not having any discomfort really during the day, just at night. Just with being at night, those certain positions, you may not have enough stabilization in those positions. And a lot of times, the telltale sign is if you don't have good stability or lying on your stomach is very uncomfortable. Or if you're lying on your back with your legs straight, it's too much pressure on the low spine and your hips are more tilted forward. So it also depends too how much cushion you got back there, right? If you got a little extra cushion, it's going to put more of a tilt. So for you to understand from a anatomy component, and this with Virginia being here, if you're lying on your back and your legs are out straight and you don't have any support underneath your knees, what happens? You're going to have a tilt here. So that puts more of a strain to the low back. Now, if I flex my hips here, so if this is my knees here and the pillows are underneath, that takes the strain, so it makes the hips round back. So if I'm lying on my back and I'm here, if I'm lying on my back, but I put something underneath my knees, what happens? That's then putting more of a tilt here. But if you don't have the support, then what happens? It then arches back. So that's why a lot of times we have a lot of that discomfort. So the biggest thing is, and then if you've slept all night and you've been in pain and you've been in a position that's not really supporting your back, the next morning you can feel like you're as stiff as a tin man, right? You just cannot move. You just feel like ooey, I, all of that. So if you put yourself in some of those positions with using the pillow, it's going to relieve some of the pain. You'll be able to get some better night. Your nights will be better, and you don't have to necessarily have all of this comfort that you're having during the night and then what you're noticing in the morning. If you're someone that says, hey, my back has just been hurting, it hurts all the time, it hurts at night, you may really want to look at your core, because that may be a lot of the component. It could either be core issues and or you may have some restriction in the flexibility of your spine. So doing some sort of stretches to help loosen the low back and also working on the core strengthening. So if this is of benefits to you, keep your eyes open for some more things that are coming. I will be hosting a webinar very soon to give you the ins and outs when it comes to some of this back pain and things that you can do to help relieve it. So tonight, you know your 3 positions that you can possibly be in. If you're laying on your back, make sure you have a couple pillows underneath your knees so you can have them more in a bent position. If you're going to lay on your side, make sure your knees are slightly bent and then put a pillow or 2 in between your legs. And if you're going to lay on your stomach, just place a couple pillows underneath. And those 3 positions with those positionings of the pillows will help decrease the strain that you're having on your spine and the positioning of your hips, which will then help allow you to have a better night's rest. So I look forward to you having a good night's rest tonight.